Hello and welcome to this webinar. Thank you for taking your time to participate in this webinar, and I believe the time that you are spending today will be beneficial and it will not go in vain. I very specially thank the management of FX Polytechnic for giving me this opportunity, and especially the principal, Mr. Rufus, who has been a big support for me from the day one I took over as the director of GEMS Polytechnic. He was the first person that I contacted for the idea and to learn, and he took me to his polytechnic, and I had a very good learning experience and admired the way things function there. And I hope those staff who are working there, you are really blessed to have such a good leader and also to work in a very good system. A small introduction about me. My name is Ashish Daniel, and I am the director of GEMS Polytechnic College. And this college was established in 2015 by GEMS Management in Bihar, in a district called Aurangabad. It's in a remote place, but it is because of purely favor of God. Today, we stand tall as one among the top private colleges in Bihar. And of course, the topic that I'm going to speak is very close to my heart because this helped me to change the way of thinking. It brought a drastic change in my leadership, and it's only because of this power or this art of delegation. Today we have a very good team who is working for the development and growth of this institution. And I should really appreciate the staff team, the HODs who come together, and today we have a 3D printing lab which is the first of its kind in entire Bihar and one among the top colleges in India to have such a large lab and also serving the COVID situation right now. And we have so many experts coming. We have our own R&D, we have our incubation center, CAD center, and so many things within few years, that too in a remote situation. It's only because of the team's effort, and also when we understood this art of delegation and power of delegation. So I believe today as I share, as I speak on this topic, you also will be able to learn and understand this in a better way. So shall we get into the topic? So the topic that I would be talking is the art of delegation in leadership using RACI Matrix. So I'll be touching a little bit on leadership to understand what is leadership, just to brush up with some old ideas, and then I will be touching on delegation and little bit on situational leadership, and then I will go to the most important topic for today's webinar, which is RACI Matrix. So when we talk about leadership, what is leadership? Many times we think leadership is positional. When I am a principal or HOD or the director, I am a leader, or else I am not a leader. But we need to understand all of us are leader, and all of you who are viewing or watching this program, you are leaders. And today we talk about 360-degree leadership. What is 360 leadership? It is not positional. You can even provide leadership to people above you. You can provide leadership to people below you or those people in your level. It is 360-degree. So this is a very common term which is used nowadays, that is 360-degree leadership. Even I remember once a student came to me and shared, "Sir, why are we not looking in the direction of 3D printing in our college?" He was just an ordinary student if we think in a college perspective. But he gave a leadership for me, and today we are having the largest 3D printing lab in whole Bihar and among all the polytechnics in India. So that leadership was given to me by a student, and he influenced my thinking and influenced my idea. So which indirectly or directly means he gave me a good leadership, which I understood, which I valued and implemented. So leadership can be any level. Many times we have this thing, only when I have the position, I am a leader. No, you all are leaders. You all are called to be leaders. You may be giving leadership to student or a staff or for HODs or to the entire college, or if you're in a school setup or in any other setup. So when I talk about leadership, don't think it in a positional way, or it is just functional, how you function. So, the definition of leadership, if you read it very clear, is very simple and it is very clear. It says leadership is the process that occurs any time when you seek to influence the thinking, behavior or development of another person towards accomplishing a goal. It enables to transform the followers into achievers. So, leadership can be for everyone who is willing to accept a challenge. So, I believe you who are viewing this webinar are ready to accept this challenge. And as you read, leadership is the process that occurs any time when you seek to influence the thinking, behavior or development of another person to accomplish a goal. So, it is nothing to do with positional. That is why there is a saying which says leadership is not positional but functional. So, N. Butler, the president of Columbia University, he says he classifies people into three groups. One, the people who make things happen. Second, many who watch things happen. And third, the majority who does not know what is happening. Yeah, many times we can see a lot of people who are not aware of anything, are not interested in anything that is happening. But I would encourage all of you to be in the first category, people who make things happen. So, you are called to make things happen as a leader. So, as I said, leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. And in any position or any level, you can influence. Take for example, salt. If you are making paneer, sabji or chicken biryani, if you put 1 kg of chicken, you don't put 1 kg of salt, you just put little salt. A small amount of salt, but it can influence the entire food. So, you may think that I am an ordinary person, but then you have the power to influence the whole system. So, that is why leadership is influence, nothing more or nothing less. So, if you see this triangle, it's a very interesting triangle. Here we see a person who is committed to the purpose, he is influencing the people to achieve the purpose. So, you as a leader, you are committed to a purpose. And when you are committed to the purpose or vision of an institution, when you understand your purpose and the vision, now you influence others so that they also can understand their purpose or the vision of the institution and they would achieve. So, you as a leader must influence the people around you so that they can achieve the purpose in their life and for the institution. So, what is leadership or what does a leader do? He sets the vision, that is the leadership function. He sets the vision, he casts the vision for the people and he motivates the people, that is the function of a leader. And third, he coordinates and plans, that is the management function. So, the focus of a leader is bringing a change and it is not focused on himself. So, a person who focuses on himself is called a boss, and leader doesn't focus on himself. That is why we have this table which shows the difference of a boss from a leader or a leader from a boss. Boss, he drives the employees, he depends on authority, inspires fear, says I, he places the blame on others, he takes the credit and he pushes people. But if you see the leader, he coaches, he depends on goodwill, he says come on, let's do. He shows how it's done, he practically shows, he gives credits and he says come on, let's do it. Of course, the first few things that we are going to see might sound very theoretical, but as we go further, we will learn something practical also. So, there are three things that should happen in any leader and it's a continuous process. So, there should be always learning, unlearning and relearning. So, that is why I put learn, unlearn and relearn. The day a leader or a person stops to learn, he stops to grow. So, if we don't update ourselves, we get outdated. Very regularly, I speak to my staff in the polytechnic and I tell them, please update yourself, because nowadays the students who are coming, they are very much updated to the technology and the developments around. So, if we don't update ourselves, we get outdated, we will stop growing. So, there are certain things we need to unlearn, there are certain things which needs to be unlearned. Maybe we think that is right, but with the present context, it may not be right. So we need to unlearn those things. And there are certain things we need to relearn. So as a leader, this three process should happen continuously. So this is a very interesting saying which says, be a learn it all, not a know it all. Let us not think that I know everything, but let us try to learn. So this is a beautiful window which is called as Jovarian window, and this explains the personality of a person. So there are 4 areas in a person. Okay, the first one, which is, if you see the first box, it is an open or free area which is known by self and known by others. Okay, so you might be a very good singer, so you know that, others know that. You might be a very good artist, you know very well, others know very well. So that is an open area which you also know and others also know about you. There is another window, the second window, and that is a blind area where it says unknown by self, known by others, where you don't know that you have this problem, but others know very well. You may say, or I may say, that I never get angry, I never get irritated, but people around you may feel that you are very, that you get irritated so easily and you get angry so easily. So we need to understand our weakness, the blind area which we do not know, only by the feedback. So that is why we need to ask our feedback as a leader so that we can become a better leader. How am I? How do you feel? When I started my journey as a director of this polytechnic, I was just 27 years old. At this very young age, the responsibility was given to me, and many things I didn't know whether what I was doing was right. So I used to ask my staff, I used to ask them to write 3 positives about me and 3 negatives about me. And I would tell them, you just type it and don't put your name and put it in a box, and I will take it and I will read it. So by that, I was able to understand my weak areas, where I am making mistake. Of course, sometimes they had very strong criticism. Sometimes they had a very strong positive criticism also. So this was very good for me to understand myself better, especially my blind area. So as a leader, you need to get the feedback from the people around you so that you will know your weaknesses also. And third is the hidden box, unknown by others, known by you. So you know that there is some problem in you, but others may not know that. So only when we share, that is why it's put a self-disclosure or exposure. You need to share others that I am struggling, I am weak in this, or I am not able to do this. When we share, so it is known by others and they may help us. Because man is not an independent, it's interdependent. We need to depend on others, but it is important that we depend with the right person. Sometimes when we share something to a person, they may blow it and they will make a big story out of it, but we need to have the right person to share our weakness, our problem area where they can help us. And the fourth is unknown area. This unknown area is not known by others and not known by even myself. So there we need to have the shared discovery or observation, others' observation and self-discovery. There are many times we have some hidden potential in us which others do not know, even I also do not know. When the right opportunity comes and when we agree or accept to do it, at that time we may realize that we have the skill. I never thought that I was good in athletics. Whenever in school, they used to have some program, I used to be volunteer and just chase the dogs in the ground, and I would never involve in any athletics. One day, my mom and one staff, they just put my name in the box for some events like a discus throw and shot put, and I had to participate because my name was there. But that was the first time I participated, and I became the champion in the discus throw and stood second in shot put in the entire school in the super senior level. And later when I moved to South, I participated even in district level events. So this is something which I never knew, others also never knew. But when I used that opportunity, it really helped me to understand my hidden potential. So you as a leader may have some hidden potential which you might not know and others might not know, but you might be willing to take challenges, and only then that will help you. I know one of my staff who is a lecturer, his name is Robin. When he came, he just knew about electronics. But whenever I gave him opportunities, he never said no. He would try to learn, Google it, or learn through YouTube. And today he handles our media, he handles all the designs, our prospectus, and a lot of things he handles, only because he took that as an opportunity. Yes, there are many hidden potential which can come out when we take the challenges and try to do it, instead of running away and thinking that I cannot do it. So this 3 process, as I shared before, we need to always have this attitude of learning, unlearning, and relearning. There are 3 types of leadership style: the autocratic or the authoritarian leadership, the democratic or participative, or laissez-faire or delegative leadership. So I'll be touching this. Of course, many times people who are autocratic or authoritarian, they never want to delegate their responsibilities or anything. They want to do everything themselves. They want people to listen. A democrat, they participate few people and take. But laissez-faire, the delegative leader, is someone who delegates the responsibility and also gives them the authority. And other 2 styles, the charismatic leader or the servant leader. The charismatic leader, for example, Obama was a charismatic leader. His words would influence people, admired his way of speaking and his emotional talks. And also the servant leader example, Mahatma Gandhi, a simple living, a sacrificial living, and with an attitude to serve, which is a simple lifestyle. So these are different style of leadership, but we are going to focus on the delegative leadership style. So let me quickly get into the delegation and execution. So what is delegation? The process of transferring the responsibility for a specific task to another member and empowering the individual to accomplish the task effectively. So here, the leader transfers the responsibility for a special task or a specific task to another member. He not only transfers the task, but also he transfers the authority or empowers him. Many times we think just throwing the work to the subordinate or breaking my work and giving it to others is delegation. That is not right. Delegation is not just dumping things on others, it's just transferring the responsibility and also empowering and also giving the authority to a person. We'll understand as we move further. Why is the ability of effectively delegation important to a leader? Why is it important? It allows time to focus on other initiatives. So when we delegate, as a leader, when we delegate our responsibilities to our subordinates or the team, it helps me to have some more time to think on something more important, something which the team cannot do. And it provides an opportunity for me as a leader to gain trust in the performance of my employee. Only when I share my responsibility and see the performance, I will gain trust on my team. And third, while the leader has a final responsibility for completing the task, delegating can allow him to build leadership skill. It will also build the leadership skill of the leader. So when he delegates, he has to monitor, he needs to take the team along with him. He cannot be a single player, he has to be a team player. So it improves his leadership skill. Principles of delegation. Here we see, when you delegate a task or delegate your work to someone in a team, you need to clearly define the task. A clear definition of the task is important. Second, what kind of quality that you are expecting, you need to explain that clearly. And how do you want that? Do you want as a draft or a paper or a video, or how do you want that to be presented? And third, and when you get the report, do you want the relevant information attached with that? And then acceptance of that person. So when you are delegating, the person should accept and he should be willing to take that. So that is important. So these are the principles of delegation. That means when you delegate, you need to have these things in your mind before you delegate. And other thing is the method of communication. How do you want the team member to communicate with you? Do you want them to communicate through WhatsApp, Telegram, or through email, or you want them to meet you in person in your office on a regular period and give you an update? And then you need to thank the team. Don't take the full credit on yourself. Your team may not like that. And then the deadline should be clear. And then if there is any limitation in the authority, for example, you may give certain amount of money under their control, and if it crosses, you may want them to ask your permission. So something like that. So you need to limit the authority if necessary, and you need to explain. So these are the things you need to clearly explain to your team so that they understand the task better. So these are the principles of delegation. Why is it important to a leader? Because for a leader, time is a precious commodity. So time is very important for a leader. If a leader spends most of the time on something which is not very important, so he wastes his time. And no matter how hard a leader tries, he cannot do everything. He needs a team. He needs his work to be delegated. So delegation versus task assignment. Delegation is not task assignment. Task assignment is simply assigning work to an individual within the duties and responsibility of his position. That is simply his duty. But delegation, on the other hand, involves the leader giving someone the responsibility and authority. So it's not just a responsibility, but the freedom or the authority to do something that is normally part of leader's job. Okay, so it's not just the task, but he gives a responsibility and also the authority. So if you read this, you will understand more better. Delegation. In delegation, you examine the task, you coordinate the task, you assign the task, you provide the support, you provide a feedback, and then you reward and appreciate. But on the other hand, in dumping, you just hand over to the supervisor, okay, which you don't like to do. Maybe you don't like those tasks where you will have to write a lot, research a lot. So you're just throwing it to your subordinate. Come on, you do it. That is dumping. Passing responsibility and accountability also. See, responsibility and authority should be given. But then here, they make the person accountable for, if they make mistake, you are the reason for the mistake. You throw the accountability on that person. That is dumping. We need to take the accountability even if there is a mistake done by our team. I remember during my initial days of my leadership, I had to take care of the hostel, the mess, the college, academics, the administration, and a lot of things. And it was really not easy for me to handle. Apart from that, I was handling one more department as Jim's Yuvak Manch. So that was another role given by the management. And apart from that, I was also involving in many teaching assignments and working for some other organization, little bit in supporting in certain areas. So now, when I have so much responsibility and handling everything and bringing everything under me was not easy. So I had to delegate the work and also give them freedom. Since I live in a different campus, every time they cannot expect me to come and see and let me decide on that. So I had to trust my team and also give certain amount of freedom and authority for them to decide. And I would tell my team, even if there is a mistake, don't worry, I will take the responsibility of that. And you feel free to make decisions, but keep me informed if it is really something serious so that I can guide you or I can help you. So that is how we as a leader must give the freedom to our team to even allow them to make mistakes. And we should be there to help them, support them, not pointing at the mistake. You did this, you did that. So as a leader, when we try to help them, they become better and better leader as they take such responsibilities. So why should we delegate? So as we read, the delegation makes them more effective. It multiplies the result of a higher valued person. That's true. Can result in specialization. So when we delegate, we may specialize on that work, give more emphasis, and then that will help us to get a better result. You can supplement the skill. There might be a certain skill which I do not have as a leader, but my team members may have. So when we delegate, it can give more, it can make the task more effective, or it can be completed more effectively. So we supplement the skill and it grooms a successor. Maybe if I am moving to some other department, or if I am given some other responsibility, higher responsibility, I have someone who has got trained, who can handle the work which I was doing. So delegation empowers him, and it also grooms a successor. And it saves time. As a leader, you must take time to think about goals and not just the activities. Many times, if we take a lot of time only in analyzing and spending time in our activities, day-to-day activities, we may miss the goal. I always make sure that the academics and all those things are taken care as much as possible by the HOD's principal. At times I visit, at times I get an input, at times I try to give some kind of suggestions, but I try to focus more on development area. What are the new things that I can start? What is the new thing that colleges are adopting? So I try to spend more time on developmental aspect and something new. If there is a new department started recently, we started 3D printing, so we were focusing on that. I was spending more time on that. Before that, it was our CAD center which we started, then I had to spend time on that. So as the new initiatives comes, I start spend more time on that, and then later I will delegate that to someone else and some experts in our college who can handle that. So it saves time so that we can spend more time on what is important. It increases your value. So delegation will help enhance your credibility as a leader. And by allowing your teammates new way to show their responsibility, you get the respect and loyalty. And that will help you to look for more challenging tasks. It benefits your team member also. As I told earlier, when it is given to a person, it equips him, empowers him. So your teammate will see certain things, that is development. When you delegate, you will teach your team members new skill. It gives them the opportunity to develop themselves, to achieve. And it gives a self-esteem. Having an interesting and challenging work, it feels good for them. They feel important, they feel valued. It increases their self-esteem. Job enhancement. Having interesting job or task in a team makes the work more enjoyable. When you give your teammate more response authority, they begin to use their own initiative and imagination. New ideas may come out, new solutions may come out. So they feel appreciated. And another thing, it benefits your team. Delegation will provide the following benefits: efficacy or efficiency. Okay, so as a team, they will become more efficient, and it encourages teamwork. Delegation beautifully builds the team. When you delegate, you bring lot of people in that work, and then you are depending on each other, and you are all working together, and that builds the teamwork. And it balances the workload. Sometimes only specific group of people will have more load, and others may have very little load. So during this delegation, the workload is balanced, it is shared. And when I will touch the RACI Matrix, at the end, I will explain how these roles can be given, assigned, works can be split, and that will give you more picture on balanced workloads. And skills and attributes needed to delegate. See, delegation has more to do with you. You need to have a heart to delegate. Many times people don't love to delegate or like to delegate. But there are certain things you need to check yourself and correct yourself. And only then you can have this thought of delegation or idea of delegation. First, you need to have the ability to recognize others' gift or talents. Some people may have talent on certain things. So you need to understand their talent and assign certain tasks. You should not give a task which he is not interested, not gifted, or he does not have talent for it. And he will really suffer. It will just be dumping work on him. An ability to match individual gifts or talents with the group need. So you need to connect. Okay, he is skilled in this, and this is the what group needs. So if you connect, that will give a better result. So you need to have the skill to analyze the talents, and then you need to have the willingness to let people carry out their task without interference. Some people, they delegate the work, but they interfere, and they want to do in their own way, and that affects the person who takes the responsibility. He will never be willing to take responsibility again, and it will be like, you have given me the task, but you are controlling it. So you should not interfere. Of course, maybe at the regular interval there can be a feedback session or a reporting time, but interfering too much will affect the person who has taken the responsibility. An ability to view the broader picture, you need to have a broad picture. You should not be narrow and selfish. An ability to keep the track of number of delegated tasks. You need to have the track of number of delegated tasks. So these are the things that we need to keep in mind, that we need to check ourselves. Do I have the willingness to delegate? Am I interfering too much after I delegate? Okay. So why we don't delegate? Okay, we are going to touch on that topic. Why we do not delegate? Because we fail to plan. Delegation needs a foresight. It needs a lot of time to think, analyze. As I said, you need to understand the person's talent and gifts. So only when you understand, then you will delegate. So many times we fail to plan, we fail to spend time thinking about a person's skill. So as we read, it requires foresight, successful, good communication. Only then you can delegate. Many times we are proud, we think no one else can do this job, only I can do this job. I have the experience, I have the qualification, and we don't have the trust on others because we are proud, we don't delegate. And we lack the vision. We want people to be spectators. Always we want to take the decision, others should watch. What happens when there are spectators? They become critics. But when we have the participants, they become partners. So let us not develop spectators who can later become critics, but let us have participants who can partner with us. And fourth thing, why we don't delegate? Because we want control. There are certain leaders who don't like to delegate because they want the entire control. Even for small thing, a small approval, they want everyone to go to them. And they want to have control over everything. And it is not easy for them. It is going to be really troublesome after a point of time. And they cannot focus on something very important. And they cannot have time to think on the developmental aspect. But these people, they want control, they want everything. And if it is out of their control, they feel stress and anxiety will increase. So they feel it's better not to delegate. So that is again wrong in a leadership point. And fourth, we don't have time or energy to train others. These people, many times as a leaders, we don't spend time in training. We think, oh, it will take a lot of time to make a person understand and train. It's better, let me do it. It's easier doing it myself. So they are either lazy or they don't have the time and energy, they don't have the willingness to train others. And another reason why some leaders don't delegate is because they would have had a bad experience. Their past stories, they might have delegated to someone and they would have confused it and made a chaos out of it. And they would have spent more time cleaning that issue. So they come to a conclusion, let me not delegate. This is because of their previous bad experience. Sometimes a leader thinks that if the other person whom I delegate does the work more better, he will be appreciated. Maybe he will even replace me. So that is a fear. Nobody wants their subordinate or another person in the team to do better than themselves. So now we are going to see how to delegate effectively. Before that, let me just touch the traps of delegation. So these are the things, because as I am talking on delegation, a lot of things might be coming in your mind. There are a lot of problems in delegation. Yes, there are. One thing is the quality may suffer. It can be vulnerable. A lot of confusions may come. Maybe it becomes redundant. And of course, it should be properly monitored. There could be some issues. So primarily the quality may suffer. There is a biggest trap in delegation. But I will be touching that little later when I go into the situational leadership, where you can understand it in a better way. But what I need to have is, I need to have flexibility. I need to develop flexibility. I need to allow people to come up with new ideas. I need to enable the workers to eliminate unnecessary steps. We keep a lot of steps at times and they become really fed up, and we need to remove or eliminate the unnecessary step, and we need to be flexible. Especially the present generation, the present team that is coming, the young people who are joining the institution anyway, they don't like the traditional approach, and we need to be flexible to understand their ideas, views, so that end of the day, the goal or the purpose is more important than the process. Self-confidence. Sometimes, as I told, the fear of being replaced, the insecurity, that affects the delegation. So, to have an effective delegation, we need to be confident. Even if they are doing better than me, I need to be happy because I am training him, I am equipping him. If you lack confidence, then you cannot have the confidence on others. Why am I not having the confidence or trust on others? Because I lack confidence personally. So, as a leader, I need to have the self-confidence, and only then I can have confidence on others. Focus on the result, not on the methods, and don't have this perfectionist attitude. Allow people, there is an 80-20 principle. If you can Google, you can find a lot of things on that. So, 20% of boost or effort can produce 80% of results. So, you just play that part. And teamwork, release control of the activities you delegate. Don't have the control, release the control. Involve the team members in the decision making process. And the most important is, never take the credit for others' work, instead give them. And many times when I prepare a report or presentation for the management, I always make sure to mention the person who played a key role in the success of a project, and I would appreciate them. I put their picture and image so that it boosts their value, and also they feel encouraged, appreciated. So, that is very important. Don't take the credit on it. Of course, it could be your leadership, your motivation that has encouraged him, but share the credit. Listen, or rather solicit the idea of the team. So, think and talk in terms of we, not me. Okay, take a softer approach to the mistake committed. As I told, sometimes you need to allow them to make mistakes. Even I can make mistake, you can mistake, everyone as a leader can make mistake. Allow them to make mistake, but you teach them so that they learn out of that experience. Instead say, it's a learning experience. I remember a company once had a very difficult situation where, because of one of their employee, there was a huge, several millions of money they lost. And all the employees were waiting for the company management to check out that person out of the company. But the management decided, I will have him in my company instead of sending him out, because I have spent such a huge amount of money to teach that person of that important lesson. So, why should I send him out for the other company to enjoy that? So, I would rather have him. That should be the attitude. It's a learning experience. Know the strengths and weaknesses. Even my leader, of course, as I said, I was just 27 when I took the leadership, and my leader, the chairman of GEMS Polytechnic, or the general secretary of GEMS, he was around 70 plus, and I am reporting to a person who is much senior to me. But I had a wonderful learning experience because he was a very good leader who believed in delegation. He used to delegate all the tasks and never interfered. He allowed me. There were times I made mistake. There were times I did not function in the way it has to, but he trusted me and he gave so much freedom and the authority for me to function. That helped me, allowed me to think creatively, allowed me to implement a lot of ideas, which has helped the institution, and many people have appreciated those new ideas and thoughts which come. That is only because of my leader who had this delegative leadership and who delegated. I remember once the construction work of the college was completed, he said a word, Ashish, hereafter you have to take it, I will not interfere. It was not just his words, but he meant. Of course, I repeatedly go and get his advice and suggestions from him because of his experience and knowledge and his divine understanding on various things. Of course, I got a lot of inputs from him, but he never interfered. I don't remember a day he came to the college and asking how things are going on, what is happening, what is wrong with this, and never. He trusted, and that is why I could able to venture in many areas. So know the team's strength and weakness. Rotate leadership responsibilities whenever appropriate. As I told, include the contributor's name, constantly, repeatedly communicate, be available for the team, encourage, and have a healthy team spirit. Levels of delegation. Levels of delegation. Now you may have a question. There is a naive person or a team member who is just naive, who is new. Can I just delegate my work entirely, means the portion of the work, and totally trust him? It is not possible. There is a level how you delegate. First, wait until told. So you support with direction. So what you say, unless I say don't do it. So you're monitoring, you're watching. And second level is you seek approval and then you act. That means whenever you take a decision, you get my approval. You seek my support and then you act. So I train him, I teach him, and then he takes the approval. And the third is act. You are free to take decision. You can act, but you act, but report to me immediately. What does it mean? So when you act, even if there is a mistake, when you report immediately, I can help in correction, I can support, I can coach, I can guide you. And the fourth is act and report routinely. Whenever you have time, at the regular interval, come and report to me. So here we empower with, these are the four levels of delegation that you need to. So for this, we need to be having this situational leadership attitude. I will touch a little bit on that and I will proceed. So when people reach level 4, they enjoy the new heights. As I was talking about the situational leadership, there are 4 processes in that. Situational leadership is they direct, coach, support, and then delegate. Here, at times we need to be an authoritarian. Sometimes we need to be a democratic. Sometimes we need to be a delegative or facile or laissez-faire leadership. Sometimes we need to understand and delegate accordingly. So, situational leadership, based on the situation, they will act how they have to act. So, this is a Ken Blanchard chart, which is a well-known chart. You would have come across this chart. So, here if you see, first the S1, high directive and low supportive behavior. So, there is the directing. The leadership style is directing. He directs. You have to do this, like this, you direct. And second is coaching. He coaches. And third is supports. And fourth, he delegates. So, and then you see the individual developmental level. At the beginning, he might be in D1, then D2. Maybe I will explain this more detail in the next chart. Okay. So, if you see the D1, that's the first level of that person whom you delegate. He may have low competence, but he may be highly committed. So, you need to follow this kind of leadership style, directing. You need to structure, control, you need to supervise. So, regular supervision and control is needed. So, as he develops into D2, as he moves from D1 to D2, so he has now some competence, but his commitment may be low. So, he needs coaching, support, and again direction. And third, there can be someone who is high in competence, but variable commitment. His commitment sometimes is good, sometimes not good. At that time, you need to be supporting. You need to praise, encourage, listen, facilitate. And fourth, he may be highly competent, and high commitment. There you need to delegate. Turn over the responsibility. Give him that. If you don't delegate, if you still want to control here, it may affect him. He may go back to either D3 or D2 or D1. So, our leadership style should help a person from D1 to go to D4, not from D4 to D3 or D2. If we don't delegate, we don't trust them, don't give them the responsibility and authority, it may discourage and they will go back, or they may bend back to a level below them. So, this is how the leadership style influences the growth. So, leaders can facilitate the growth or maturity by changing their style when they see changes in the performance. So, I need to change my style. I cannot use the same style for a person continuously or throughout. I need to change. As they begin to perform more effectively, leaders should change their style from left direction S4 that you saw in the Ken Blanchard chart. If they don't perform, you come back to S1. You have to start directing, then coaching. So that is how a leader should make himself flexible. So here we see in S1, you need to tell them what to do. You need to show them what to do. And then let them try. And then the coaching, you need to watch them do it. You need to praise their progress. So now I'm going to share 2 examples from the Bible, which is very important, which can help you understand the delegation. School of Christ, if you see the life of Jesus on this earth, he very beautifully followed this delegation leadership, And if you read the chapter 8 of Luke, there we see Jesus sending the disciples, giving them authority and the power to cast away the demons, heal the sick, and do miracles. So what he did before that, he demonstrated before he delegated. He was having his disciples and people around him. He used to do the healing. He used to do miracles. He used to teach, and he had people around him watching from his leadership. And now he is delegating. He is giving them the authority and is delegating. And he says, he appointed 12, designated them apostles that they might be with him. And then he sent down and to have authority to drive. So there we see, he gave them authority to drive. And the 12 were mentored by him. And not only he gave them the responsibility to go and cast the demons and help the people, but he gave them the power and authority. Okay? And power is ability to do something, and authority is a right to use that ability. So Christ gave them a very specific job. If you read this chapter, you will understand that Jesus gave them very clear instruction how to go into a village and how to reach the people who are sick or weak, and how to influence them or transform their life. And if they don't respond, how should you behave? And then we see very important thing is this apostles reported back to Jesus in chapter 9 verse 10. We see they came back to Jesus and reported after all those things they did. Jesus didn't interfere in between. He waited for them to come and report. So this is a beautiful delegation, and he gave the power, he gave authority, he gave the task, explained how to do, what to do, and then he took the accountability, and the people came and explained, and he was listening. He had a heart to listen. He had his ear open to listen to them. Many times as a leader, we don't like to listen. Okay, you did it, okay, fine. But we need to listen how they feel during that process, how they felt through the process, what happened. That will encourage. So another example is from the life of Moses. Moses was one of the greatest leaders who delivered the Israelites from Egyptian. They were in bondage, they were in slavery. So he was the reason to pull these people, the Israelites, from the bondage and to a beautiful place called Canaan. So if you see, during this journey from Egypt to Canaan, he had millions of people under him, and he was a single leader. So one day his father-in-law Jethro, he comes to him and says, hey Moses, you are taking so much load. You are trying to solve the problems of all these people, and it is too much load on you. In this process, you are also affected. People are also affected. How can you solve the problems of millions of people? Every day they may come with a lot of issues, problems and fights and disagreements, and you cannot judge all this issue. And then he says, for it is too much for you. You are not able to perform it by yourself. And then he gets practical. He rebukes Moses. You are not the only one who can do this job. You just have to find some leaders you can trust to share the load. There's no reason you should bear this alone. So there's a beautiful advice given by his father-in-law. And then he says, you select the people, able men, such as who have the fear of God, men of truth, who don't hate covetousness. And here you see that his focus was on character, not on the talents or anything. So he chose the people with the right character, and then he delegated. We see that he made a group, the second para that you read, he made them ruler over 1,000, ruler over hundreds, 50. So there was a leader for 1,000, another leader for 100, another leader for 50, and a ruler for 10. And then this important and which need attention of Moses, only those issues were brought to Moses. So only do those things which others cannot do. Many times we do things which even a simple ordinary person can do, and we waste lot of time on that. So Jethro concludes, if you do this and God so commands you, then you will be able to endure, and the people will also go to their place in peace. Because here people were waiting for days to get justice from Moses, and they were stressed out. They had to wait for a long time. So when you just split the work, delegate it, you will also endure, and the people also will go in peace. And finally, I am going to touch this most important talk for this day, RACI Matrix. All this were background which can help you to understand this. So what is RACI? RACI, R stands for responsible, A accountable, C consulted, and I informed. We have tried to implement this in our college, and our HODs, they try to implement, and I can say that it really helped in many areas. Because why do we need this matrix? Many times there is a role confusion. People concern over who makes the decision, blaming others. He did that mistake, I did not do that, it was he. And many times there is out of balance workload, and sometimes there's a lack of action, question over who does that. And you give a task and people don't know who should do it, and finally the work is not done till the end. And then there is a we there, they did not do, we were right, they were wrong. This we they attitude, I'm not sure, I was not sure whether I should do it or he should do it. There is a role confusion many times when the task is delegated. So RACI Matrix, it solves that. There's ideal time, poor morale, and a lot of reactive, there is reaction in the environment, work environment. So a lot of problems. So there is because of the role confusion. So RACI Matrix solves this role confusion. Here R stands for responsible, A accountable, C who is to be consulted, and who is to be informed. So I will go in detail. What is the purpose? Purpose of the RACI Matrix is to answer the following questions. 1. What functions, activities or tasks must be performed? So now what are the tasks? We need to write it down. And second, who must perform? And what is their level of involvement? Are they going to be just as consultant, or only the information is going to go to them, or they are going to take the responsibility, or they are going to be the accountable person? And what's the role of each department? So RACI is highly participative process that ensure ownership and responsibility by individual. So who is responsible? R, the person who is assigned to do the work, that's the primary. So who is going to do the work is the person who is termed as a responsible person. So he is going to do the work. He is going to do, he is the doer here. And the accountable person is someone who can take the decision, whom he should go get the approval. Consulted, maybe those persons who have already done the same work and they have idea, previous experience, who can be consulted. And the fourth is, after the work is done, or the task is done, who has to be informed? Okay, so you can just read this, that will give you responsible person is a doer, accountable, the buck stops there, that he is the one who is going to give the final approval. Consultant, he should be in the loop, maybe some experienced person, and who has to be informed. See, here is a simple chart of a family which I have tried to work it out. So it's a family, husband, wife, and there are 2 sons. Okay. So now I am going to chart the roles, the task. So here buying groceries. It's a responsible of the husband. The husband should get that. And who is accountable? Here the wife is accountable. So wife should approve what should buy, and they can consult with the son. What do you want to eat? And the son too can also, I want to eat this. So they can be consulted. Okay. So husband is going to buy, he is going to go to the market, but wife gives the approval. Okay. And then son, they give their ideas, views on that. And preparing food, husband is consulted, wife is accountable to prepare the food, and she is responsible also here. And then children may be consulted. What do you want to eat? What is your interest? And paying the bills online, anything, the accountable and the responsible can be the husband, and it may be consulted with the wife. Maybe the children need not be brought into this. Studies, who is responsible? The son is responsible. Who is accountable? The mother. Maybe the father is busy, he is not there at home regularly, he may be traveling. So he can be consulted, but maybe the mother is there at home regularly, so she is accountable. Likewise, so this is a chart. For example, again the laundry. So here the son is responsible to do the laundry, help in the house. So he will inform the father, father, I am going to put the clothes for washing. So can you please give the clothes? Or he goes to the son too and he says, give me the clothes. So he is informing, the information is going, and then, or after the information is going, and the mother is accountable to make sure that things are done. So this is a simple chart. Okay, I will show one more example which is done by one of our lecturer, Mr. Ranjit, who is the HOD of Computer Science Department. So he has prepared, this is going to help you, since most of you who are viewing are from institutional background. So you may have, so here student monitoring and mentoring. So he has put the HOD, Mr. Ranjit, should be consulted, responsibility is Ms. Divya, and he has put Mr. Crystal as accountable, and all those rules and whatever they make, they should be informed to the students. Evaluation or anything, so he put few people has to be consulted, one person is accountable and responsible, information should go. If you see the technical and system issue monitoring, here the HOD gets only the information. So he doesn't hold the responsibility or accountability, he gets information. The responsible accountability is again on one person. Here the students no need to know about it. Mr. Sanjay, technical assistant, he can be consulted. For symposium workshop, there is another person who is accountable, someone who is responsible, and who students need to be informed, consulted with the HOD. So this is how you split the work of the department, and then a person will be held as responsible, someone accountable. So HOD, if you check this chart, HOD is not having, he is not accountable for all the thing, and he is not responsible for all the thing. The responsibility is pushed to the staff, accountability is also pushed to the staff, so it is pushed to the lower level. So after we prepare this chart, we need to do a vertical analysis and horizontal analysis. So if how will this help? If a person is having too many responsibilities, you need to be careful that he is overloaded. So he is having too much load on his head. So his work or responsibility should be shared or given to someone else. So you can analyze by this chart who is taking more load in your department, and you can even find out who is having no responsibility. It's only a person who is being informed or consulted, that's all. So he's not having any responsible or any, he's not accountable for any task. So you can analyze with this horizontal and vertical analysis, you'll find out if the person is not involving more, is not having much load, or if he is having more load, and that will help to balance the workload within your department. So there are a few guidelines in the RACI. Place accountability and responsibility at the lowest feasible level. Don't take all the responsibility and accountability on your head as a leader. Push it to other people. Let them have the responsibility. Let them be accountable. And there can be only one accountable. You need to be very clear. There should be only one accountable person. Or else they will push the thing that it is his mistake, my mistake, he did not do, I did not do. Accountability will be on one person. Responsibility can be shared. Responsibility can be with two persons. As much as possible, if it is one, it is very good. Sometimes it can be shared. But accountable should be only one person in the chart. And minimize the number of consultants also as much as possible, because too many cooks will spoil the food. So have certain consultants who will really add value, who can be a support to them. They should not take, they should not be very authoritarian, or they should not make the decision on their behalf. And inform, whom should we inform? This is to a group after the decision is made, after the work is done, who needs to be informed. So that we need to, many times we take a decision, we make decision, but it is not communicated to whom it has to be communicated. It has to be, all responsibilities must, roles must be documented and communicated. Okay. So when you prepare the chart, you can use this kind. For example, if you put attend meetings, it is very generic, or it's very ambiguous. You know, specific. Be specific on what meeting. Prepare report. What report? It should be very clear. Use such words like evaluate as much as possible. These words will help. Operate, approve this, publish this, schedule this. This kind of words will help you when you prepare the task for a person. Approve that. Of course, in the example I showed, not many of them had done it, but this is a very easy way, and it is a very simple way which can help you to prepare. It's an action verb. Use action verb, and this will help you to prepare the task more clear and more specific. Okay, inspect, what to inspect, authorize the bill, authorize the action plan or anything. So these are the things you can use. And then as a general role, assign R's and then determine who. So first you need to assign R. So when you put a task, the first is who is going to do it. The doer should be assigned first. And then you should assign who has the authority or who is going to approve. Of course, not the authority. Who is accountable? Who is going to be accountable? He has the authority. The person who takes the responsibility has certain amount of authority to do that. He has a freedom. But someone who is accountable, you need to fix next. And then whom should he consult and whom to be informed. For larger group or more complex issue, an independent facilitator is required. Meeting time can be significantly reduced in a straw model. Okay. Get feedback and distribute the RACI chart to everyone represented on the chart, but not present in the development. Capture their changes, revise the chart as appropriate, reissue or revisit the chart, RACI chart, update as necessary. So here we see that once you prepare the RACI chart, you give it to them and ask them to check it, analyze it, and if necessary, revise it. Don't be rigid that what is prepared is prepared. Ask them to only then when they participate, they can be your partners. If they don't participate, they will only be a critic. They will not enjoy the work that is given. So this is how RACI Matrix, as I told you, you need to chart it, responsible, accountable, consultant, and informed. These are the 4 things. And you need to chart it, put the task, and then you need to place accountability, responsibility as much as lower. And another important thing is first you need to assign the responsible person and then accountable. And when you split this work in your department or in your group where you are working or as a team, if it could be just students also, it could be staff, it could be HODs and all, that will help you to split and easily function, and there will be minimize role confusion, or else there will be a lot of role confusion. And I have personally seen that in my team, and I believe now they have understood this very well and things are going smooth by the grace of God. So I believe you have understood this concept, and this will really help you, and I should really thank that I got an opportunity to learn. Of course, one of the training session conducted by Lead Next by Dr. Vijay and Mr. Emmanuel Sandeep. Those were the people, trainers last 2 years back. They trained us on this, and I could implement in my institution and I could see the result. And I believe even you can try this, implement, and if you have any doubts or question, you can chat with us and we will try to help you. And of course, there are a lot of materials in online also, which is just a spark. Of course, I have covered a lot of things. Maybe it is too much today, but you can, it's just a spark. You can start digesting it. You can start going through it in more deeper way to understand. And I hope this will help you to be a good leader and a better leader in the days to come. Thank you so much for your time and for your patience to attend this webinar. And I believe it was useful for you. And please share your questions, queries, so that we can try to help as much as possible. Thank you so much.